Welcome. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we're delighted that you've welcomed us into your home today. Now, we want to hear from you, so send us an email with your question or your comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. Now, today is Friday, and we have Kristin Bird with us and Peggy Downs. They are the Diocesan Rosary Congresses. You could go to their website, rosarycongressusa.org. We had a wonderful conversation with these beautiful ladies on Wednesday in this week of Our Lady of Fatima and the anniversary. And so really talking about everything that we need to do this side of heaven to equip our church family, our diocese, to participate, schools, to say, are we doing everything we possibly can do to pray for the reparation of our church, for the lifting of the veil off all of our eyes in ways that we are blind and deaf, where we're not seeing, where we're not hearing, and we're not believing. Sometimes we just get caught up in all this hopelessness.
So these Rosary Congresses with 7 ongoing days of Eucharistic adoration, every hour on the hour praying the Rosary, explaining, teaching why we're doing what we're doing. It renews the church. It lifts the veil from the eyes of people within our church to understand what we have, who we have. And I think of that in 2 Corinthians 10, verse 4, possibly. That's the text. But it speaks about the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
Right.
They're not of this world, but they're spiritual. The Eucharist, the Rosary, intercessory prayer, for the tearing down of strongholds. If we do these things in faith and in love and pray, if we know what we have at our disposal, who's at our disposal, who wants to work, we will push up against the gates of hell, and they'll begin to have fissures, and they'll begin to fall. So our weapons are mighty, they're powerful, even though they're not the weapons of this world, for the tearing down of every argument, of every spiritual stronghold, if we would but use them, if we would but cooperate with the Rosary and cooperate with the Most Holy Eucharist. If we knew what we have and who we have, the gates of hell would come down. And I think that's what the Rosary Congresses are doing, kind of renewing what's already there, giving more teaching, opening up eyes, and people just take these truths in our Lord and run with them.
Well, and they're beautiful women. They've said yes to our Lord. They've said yes to Our Lady. And so maybe you're at home and you're thinking, this couldn't happen. You know, I don't have these gifts. I don't have these talents. Do I have organization skills? Do you have friends? Do you have friends that pray? Well, then this is a way for you all to come up alongside this beautiful ministry and say, you know what? Our diocese right now, at this time and state of the church, we need it, and get in touch with them.
It's Rosary Congresses USA.org. Rosary Congress, CONGRESS, USA.org. Plenty more to come. Please don't go away. God is renewing His church and bringing awakening to the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and today is Friday, and we bring to you Kristin Bird and Peggy Downs. The name of their organization is Diocesan Rosary Congresses. You could go to their website, rosarycongressusa.org, where these ladies were sharing with us about this beautiful ministry and the impact that it's having on your diocese. So maybe you're at home and you're thinking, does my diocese need this? Is this something we need to be involved in? If you haven't, these ladies are going to tell us how you can make that happen in your diocese. But first, you beautiful ladies, I want, Peggy, why don't you share with our family at home a little bit about the fruit and the graces of things that have happened when you've had a Congress in their area.
Well, I was remembering back when I met Anatol Kaziuk from Poland back in 1990, and he was telling me that midway through their Rosary Congress in Poland, by Wednesday, he said they felt like the cloud of darkness was just being lifted from the eyes of the young. And people were seeing what we have in the church. We have Jesus in the Eucharist, we have the Blessed Mother in her Rosary, as if they'd never seen it before. What we're finding out now is that people are coming back to the sacraments. People are saying the Rosary who hadn't said it in years. People are learning how to say the Rosary, and they're my age, for the first time. So there's a lot of good things. The organizers from around the country have written to me over the past 2 years, and just saying how grateful everyone is that they have organized these congresses in their diocese. And as Father Boric from Baltimore said, you can't help but get good fruit from having a congress in your diocese.
A powerful reality and word that you're speaking, that people are seeing what they already have. Our church is filled. I was one of those people that didn't see what we have. And I guess there's a variety of reasons for that, but if this helps to lift the veil, especially among our young people today, how powerful a thing that is, because we need renewal so desperately within the church. We need a cleansing within the church. And sometimes we just look at everybody in the church and we think that we're all on the same page, so to speak. But we don't know. We have to be catechized. And a lot of that catechesis is not only verbal, it's spiritual. And nothing lifts the veil like looking at the Lord in the Most Holy Eucharist, adoring the Lord 24 hours, and then rosary every hour, on the hour, and praying. And it's like a medical or radiation treatment for bad stuff, and it just begins to open people's eyes and be cleansed. And once the church is awakened, once our young people are awakened, the walls begin to fall in our own lives and every place else. So this is very much about spiritual warfare. And you're not bringing anything new. I don't hear anything new that you're doing.
Right.
It's just helping people to see more fully what we already have and how to use what we have, how to adore what we have, and how to bring it to bear. And then the church goes on the offensive now. We're on the defensive all the time, but it seems to me the Rosary Congresses are about being on the offensive in terms of like football or basketball. You're on the offensive. You're moving, and the devil really hates that. He wants to keep us on the defensive. But once we start praying like this and believing like this, the gates of hell don't stand a chance.
One of the things that after our first Congress in 2017 in my diocese of Steubenville, the deacon at our closing meeting, the deacon said he was skeptical, in the beginning, oh, it's just another thing to do. But by midway through the week, it was obvious people were coming. We get so used to the same people doing everything, here and there. But it was obvious that people were coming that we hadn't seen on a regular basis. They want to come to Jesus. They want to say the Rosary.
Tell us, is there a variety of ways to do a diocesan Rosary Congress?
There are in essence 3 basic ways to do that. And then I outlined earlier on Wednesday the simple basic format: opening Mass, closing Mass with adoration and rosary prayed every hour, on the hour in between. That's the very basic format. Then you have a traveling Rosary Congress, which would be where you might have 7 different locations, and for 24 hours you would hold a Rosary Congress there. And then you would close with a Mass, and then it would go to the next location, which allows places like in Fairbanks, Alaska, they will be holding probably like something similar to that, or even in Hawaii, because of the islands and whatnot, they will be doing something probably similar to that. That's what they've done in the past years. And then you have the opportunity to do a really full Congress where you have speakers, you have Eucharistic Marian processions, you may have a Marian concert, you can have confessions, and you can bring in all the different ministries. Hopefully you will be reaching out to all the different people of different ethnicities. And this is such an opportunity to bring the church together. We want to reach those people, because without them, we're missing the body of Christ. The body of Christ is missing when we're not all together. And it's so important that this message gets out, because we bring people together, and it's just so beautiful to see the edification and to see the people really returning to the sacraments. I know in my own parish we had one young woman who decided she was going to make several consecutive holy hours thinking, I've never done this before, I'm just going to do it. And now she's a regular adorer.
Right.
And not only that, but now she's become a leader within our parish, and she is bringing other young people with her into the parish, into prayer, into Mass, into adoration. Those things are so important.
But now, when you want to begin it and do it in all the lines of authority as we have, how does it get initiated? Is it the laity going to the priest? Is the priest initiating it? Is the bishop initiating it? How does it work? How do we begin that?
Well, we as an organization have written to all the bishops in the country probably half a dozen times over the course of the last 3 years. And so some of those bishops have given that job to someone in their diocese to have a Rosary Congress. But that's not the normal way. Normally what happens is people like us say, hey, do you want to help me? I've got this great idea, let's get together. And then we find a priest who will do it at his parish, and then the organizing begins right there. Yeah.
Okay. So it could come from a parish. It doesn't have to come from the diocese, where the bishop would have to say, you have permission to do that. A priest can initiate that and say, as for me and my parish right here, we're going to participate in this.
You can, but they should always go to the bishop to say, we would like your blessing on this, because the bishop, being the highest authority in his diocese, it becomes a more powerful event.
But we know how busy he is, and so, I mean, if you can get a local priest, sometimes, you might get it all faster,
like
right?
You said, sometimes it's just delegated.
Right.
Because someone else could be a lay person and so on. And, I'm just thinking as we're sharing, because a lot of people get called in to do this. And so oftentimes, though, it's busy people, like you're both busy. And we had a show some time back where we just said to people out there in the family, can you just share about some of the intimate encounters you have with the Lord when you go to Eucharistic adoration? We had so many sharings, so beautiful, and a lot of the sharings were from people that have large families. A number of them are homeschool teachers. They have children with disabilities, special conditions, but they're the ones going to Eucharistic adoration. They just say, I don't know how I'd survive and live without really going, and what this does to me just to be in the presence of the Lord, and how my children want me to do this. That they understand that. Or maybe it's not large families. Maybe it's people that have other things going on in their lives that are really difficult. Everybody finds their way there. When they get there, it's not like, God's doing us a favor. We're not doing God a favor. Sometimes we think that. I think that, I guess, in the ministry and so on. And God has had to say to me, do you think you're doing me a favor by living, where I live and I work among the poor and do racial reconciliation, and we're working, in our pro-life center, and it just gets so hard. And it's like, this is the way I'm saving you, or I'm healing you, I'm bringing you to fullness of life. And so we're making appeal, and we almost apologize sometimes, I'm not saying you are, but to get people involved, all we want you to do is look at the Lord and let him look at you. And we want the messages of Fatima to come true in your life and in your family and in the world. So when people get there, it's kind of like, oh, I want to do this more. So we want you to all know that when you come, you are so blessed and so refreshed in what you do. Are you partnering with any other organizations? There's so many growing Marian organizations and Rosary organizations and so on, and how's this all working together, or where are you in that?
Well, we are currently seeking out other Marian and Eucharistic devotion ministries that have those devotions, and asking them if we can't come along one side of one another and find a way to collaborate, because the devil is so divisive. If he can keep us separated, the battle's lost.
Right.
But when we come together, and that's what the Rosary does. The Rosary brings unity, and when we come together under the two pillars of John Bosco, the Eucharist and the Rosary, when we bring them together and we bring all these ministries together with like-minded, we can be so much more powerful and reach so many more people. So we're seeking out those ministries currently. We're hoping to put together even a digital summit to start that connection, and we'll do that in just a couple of weeks. So we're hoping to work with even Father Heilman and his ministries
great work.
and the Holy League of Nations, Rosary Coast to Coast, Signs and Wonders of the Time with in the International Week of Prayer and Fasting. So they have their own charisms,
Right.
and so they're going to bring that to flesh out that. May it be fasting or novenas or families or children of the Eucharist. We're working with them too. So all these people and ministries already. Jesus through Mary. We have all these various ministries that are saying yes. Mother of Mercy Messengers, yes. The Divine Mercy, and it's just so beautiful. And how can we work together? So we're looking to do that.
Yeah, and all those realities, that unity, that coming together, is exactly what we need to be as we confront the disunity in the world.
Exactly.
And peace is about unity, and there's all of these divisions and war and strife, but we're going to come together in unity.
Exactly.
And I think of, in our marriage, one of the key scriptures for me that's been so important is for us, be at one with your wife, lest your prayers be hindered.
Right.
So that always instructs me. If I'm not one with her, nothing else really matters. I don't have power.
Right.
How can I do anything anyplace else if this one relationship isn't right? And it's the same thing within the church. And we are divided in the church, and we do have so much sin to repair and abuse, and we got all this. But we're saying we're here to do the Fatima thing, to repent.
Exactly.
To move into the realm of sanctity, to cry out to the Lord for our own sake and for the sake of the world. And when we begin to do that, great things begin to happen in other places. Joe, we have an email here.
It says, I can see the tremendous fruits of a Rosary Congress, but I don't feel capable of pulling this off on a diocesan level. Can this be scaled back to a parish Rosary Congress to start and perhaps grow from there? And this is Erica from Tampa.
So I would say,
I think that person must be saying they're thinking of a number of churches in the diocese. Can it just be a parish? That's what I'm thinking.
and that's usually where it starts.
Right.
Yeah, that's where it starts. Are you in a diocese? Then yes. The
Right.
answer to that question would be yes.
Yeah.
You have to start there. But don't look at this as a parish event, because you will lose the opportunity to invite. We need to be inviting people. So go beyond your parish boundaries. Maybe just the surrounding parishes. Hey, we're having this Rosary
Right.
Congress October 7th to the 13th. Can you come participate?
Right.
Can you send 12 people to take 6 hours, 2 people every hour, and that will be your commitment. Could you imagine if you got just the surrounding parishes and all came, how much fuller will we be as people? How many more graces, how many more impact, how many more souls will be impacted by that? How many more children, or of our children, will return to the church? That's really what it's all about. We can't forget to invite.
Right.
Right.
So diocesan Rosary Congresses doesn't necessarily mean the whole diocese is participating.
Exactly.
Many churches are holding events, although that can happen, and that's a beautiful thing, and it does happen.
Yeah.
It simply means you're in the parish, and you should reach beyond the parish to other people, to other parishes, and say, come to our parish, we're having this, or maybe multiple parishes can be involved. So I think that's where that person was coming from, maybe a little confused about the title of
Well,
it.
I know in my own Archdiocese of Baltimore, we actually had 7 Rosary Congresses running simultaneously, so that we could
Okay.
reach more people. And
Wow.
that was at the request of the Archbishop, so that we could reach those people, far west,
Yeah.
and then around the diocese. So
But your diocese is showing off. Because they got you. But I didn't know that could happen. That would even be allowed. So I'm glad that you said that.
Yes, absolutely, because it's not exclusive to one place, because the grace,
Right.
God is not limited. We can't limit God. And if He's calling you to do that, then by all means, please, But if you have one parish that's willing to say yes, start with one parish.
Right.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Go with who's going.
Well, we're going to take a break at this point. We're going to finish up, and hopefully we'll hear about how people can be better equipped to do this in their own diocese. So plenty more to come. God's doing a great work of renewal in dioceses throughout our country and all over the world. It will spread, I believe, beginning in Poland, here to America, perhaps out to the world. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, we're visiting today with Kristin Bird and Peggy Downs of the Diocesan Rosary Congresses. But first, we're going to go straight to Rome to hear from Joan Lewis. Now, Joan, what do you have for us today?
Well, hi, Jim and Joy. It's good to be back with you again this week, especially on a day when I have some very good news. Now, I'm sure that most of our listeners have and viewers have heard of, or perhaps even been to, the Shrine of Medjugorje. That's in Bosnia-Herzegovina, a country known once upon a time as Yugoslavia. Now, the title Our Lady of Medjugorje is a title that's given by those who believe that Our Lady appeared to 6 young Herzegovinian children in 1981. It's actually one of several titles that have been given to the Blessed Virgin. Now, the children over the years have told the world that the messages from Medjugorje are all about conversion to God. At the center of conversion is prayer, and at the center of prayer for Our Lady is the Rosary. In fact, one of the highlights of a visit to Medjugorje is a trip up a very tortuous hill where at the top is a statue of Our Lady, and people pray the Rosary as they go up. Now, I know you're talking about the Rosary today. So here's the good news. Actually, the Vatican set up a commission a number of years ago to look into the veracity of the claims of messages from Our Lady to these people. Of course, they are now adults. And they have never pronounced themselves about the authentication of these messages. However, a positive piece of news came out from the Vatican on Sunday with a very brief message from the press office, basically saying that Pope Francis now authorizes these pilgrimages. And the message begins, as jointly announced this morning by Monsignor Heinrich Hoser, apostolic visitor of a special character of the Diocese of Medjugorje, the Holy Father ordered that it be possible to organize pilgrimage to Medjugorje. However, the message says this authorization must not be seen, quote, as an authentication of the known events, which still require an examination by the Church. The message continues. It must therefore be avoided that such pilgrimages create confusion or ambiguity under the doctrinal aspect. Given the considerable flow of people who go to Medjugorje and the abundant fruits of grace that flow from it, this provision is part of the particular attention that the Holy Father intended to give to that reality, aimed at favoring and promoting the fruits of good. So a lot more to be said about this, I'm sure, in coming weeks and months, but as usual, time's up here, so back to you.
Thanks so much for that interesting update on Medjugorje and the Holy Father and encouraging pilgrimages, but no stamp yet regarding the messages there. So the story goes on. Well, ladies, this has been really powerful, great ministry. What would you like to share with us now about people getting involved or what they might find on your website to help them if they want to hold a Congress in their diocese?
Go ahead.
If someone is interested in holding a Rosary Congress, go to our website and contact us via email or phone. You can call us. We have a do-it-yourself manual that we are happy to send you via email once we hear from you. If you decide that you're going to do a Rosary Congress, please let us know so that we can keep track of where they are in the country and who's doing them.
Yeah, it's important to stay connected. Again, it's that piece of unity. We're church together, and for me, behind the scenes, if you will, it's really wonderful to see the different people and the different responses that you get because it's so beautiful. But to know that you're a piece of something bigger than yourself, I think is just as important. Mm-hmm. That, I'm doing my own little thing here in Maryland, or I'm doing my own little thing here in Texas is important, but we're part of something bigger, and we have to keep that in mind. And that's what we hope to really stress.
Yeah, well, it's great just to know that we shared a lot, and it can get a little overwhelming, and there are different formats, different ways to hold this and so on, to be able to go to a place, your website, to know that you're available, to say, this is where I think I can begin, or how this can happen in my parish, or, hey, we've got a lot of people, we've had a lot of this excitement going on about Eucharistic adoration, about praying the Rosary. I think I can mobilize something larger, that everything is there that they need and that they can communicate with you. You're there for them.
Absolutely.
That's right. And remember, it seems overwhelming, but there are a lot of people just like you and me who want to do this. Mm-hmm. They just need to be asked.
Ladies, thank you so much. Thank you for beautifying the Bride of Christ. It's Rosary Congress USA.org. Keep it on EWTN. You're an important part of this family, and you are always at home with Jim and Joy. Bye now.